Hey guys, we're back with another video, and this is Can We Talk? I'm Ken. That's Worthy Baby.
Hey, hey, hey.
That's NC Bound.
Hello, everybody.
And this video is about Jarvis Butt's brother has came clean, and he's got a shocking recording that we want to listen to. And so let's get to it, y'all. Give me a few minutes so I can present it.
The story just getting crazier and crazier, but
Yes, it is. It's a lot of stuff with this
It's
story, and it is. I don't even know what to say about it because it gets crazier by the minute.
yes.
sure does.
Okay, let's see what's going on here.
Go back around and try to get rid of the baby. You gave that to her, you know what I'm saying, and try to do whatever you could do. She was feeling sick or whatever. All right, so he gets in the car, drops her off, to go back home. All right, when she gets out to go home, she go in the house. Shannon didn't get into it with her. They didn't call and see if she was at Jarvis' house because Shannon already knew she was at Jarvis' house because she called to get directions earlier that day while she's at school. So once you get back, they get to fussing at her for going up to Jarvis' shop and calling fast and this and that. Then it all came out, you know, confirming that she was pregnant, was Jarvis' baby, and Shannon lost it. Shannon lost it real bad and jumped on Naziyah, beating her, hitting her in the head with some object right there in their house that they overlooking, and killed Naziyah because she was already probably having complications. Remember, from whatever they've been giving her to try to get rid of the baby. Remember, she was sick earlier that day and on the floor.
So, did I hear that the Aunt Shannon hit Naziyah in the head with something after finding out she was pregnant?
That's what I'm getting. Allegedly, the brother is saying that Shannon lost it. She lost it. They actually found her when she didn't get off the bus, and they found her supposedly at I guess the shop or whatever, from what could hear. And so they started asking her, what's going on, and they got into a confrontation because she basically was saying that they found out she's pregnant and everything, and they said Shannon lost it and she hit her in the head with something that's in that house. Could have been, anything. That type of look like rip in a hoodie. That could have been anything. That could have been, a fireplace poker. That could have been anything. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, but apparently that's what he's saying. But I mean, where could he have got that story from? He wasn't there, so the only person he could have got that story from is from Jarvis Butts, and you
Right.
know, I mean, the story is not hard to believe. It's not hard to believe, because um, the way that her family did not show any emotion in the preliminary hearings, I think something happened. I think something happened and they covered up something. That's why no one called the police. Nobody. They were slow in doing everything because there was no urgent in looking for Naziyah because they already knew. They allegedly they might have already knew where Naziyah was.
Right.
Right.
And to me, it just seemed like they were protecting Jarvis and not the little girl. They were more concerned, I guess, with him getting in trouble, or all of them for that matter. Um, and
Right.
hiding what happened to this little girl. But my question is, I know this happened a year ago, but I'm sure between then and now the cops had visited the house. So there should have been, well, I'm hoping they found some evidence, and I know, they're still, investigating and following leads and reviewing the evidence that they do have. But wouldn't it? I'm wondering if they found anything to corroborate what this brother-in-law is stating. As far as the little girl getting hit in the head. I'm wondering if they did find something, they're just not saying it right now because they are still investigating. And again, hopefully, if that did happen, then everybody who is responsible is held accountable for this little girl's disappearance. And we all know probably not no longer here. Um, I just hope all of them are charged and get punished for the role that they played in this whole situation.
Well, it definitely needs to be more than Jarvis Butts charge. I mean, it was a lot of people that put this little girl in danger, and we knowing the situation. I mean, so I feel like it's more than Jarvis needs to be charged here. I think the grandma needs to be charged. I believe the sister needs to be. I mean, well, not the sister, but the auntie needs to be charged. And shoot, maybe even the sister, depending on how true this story is. It's some more people that's finna be charged if this story is true. Also, this is crazy. This to me is insane. I mean, you have a woman here that's messing with a alleged pedophile, and she got him around the kids. She didn't have 5 kids by him. So he's had ample opportunities to be around. I'm sure he visit the baby. I'm sure she's staying with her mom. He done came in the house. You cannot make me believe this man has never been in her mom's house. Uh, Around the kids and around all his kids that's staying there or whatever. He's been around all them kids. That's why they were so freely to allow the kids to go up to the shop to clean up for him because he's been around the kids. If you're not gonna let him around the kids in the home, why let the kids go around him by themselves to clean up at the shop? That makes absolutely no sense to me. So
And I also think that it's like the more this story is being put out there, the more people are coming forward, with information that they're speaking about. But again, if you knew this, why not contact the authorities? You could have potentially saved this little girl's life, had you reported that to the police that she allegedly was hit in the head when the auntie found out that she was pregnant, and that it was Jarvis's baby allegedly. You could have possibly prevented this little girl's demise, had you reported what you heard, seen, or even if you thought something happened, you still could have gone to the police, and maybe they could have, you know, again, investigated it sooner and hopefully prevented this little girl's death.
one more thing before we get back to this video. Like I said, I believe more than one person needs to be charged here because you know if everybody sit around and this this happened to this poor baby, they watched the auntie unalive this baby. I feel like, they all need to be charged because they all have something to do with hiding this. You know what I'm saying? And making it seem like, she disappeared, nobody know what happened to her, yada yada yada. I feel like everybody in that household that was adults need to be charged because at this point they're accessory. They're accessory to the fact they're tampering. You know what I'm saying, with evidence, because if it happened in the home and she attacked her niece in the home, that, you know what I'm saying, and they hid it, that's tampering with evidence. There, I
Right.
mean,
I totally agree with you 100%.
so it's a lot of stuff that's unraveling slowly, and I'm here for it. I'm here for justice for Nazara, and whatever information I get, I will share. So let's
I'm
get.
just so ready for them to finally find, you know, find her, bring her, somewhere where she can finally rest in peace. If that's the case, was what didn't happen with her. Cause I heard one little story talking about some. They think that she's still alive, but it's been at least a year. So I
Yeah,
seriously got that.
a year with no contact, no phone access, no doctor visits, and she was supposed to be pregnant. No earthly contact, no school contact. Nobody has had any contact. No social media access, no
Hmm.
anything.
Mhm.
Everything ceased on January the 9th. Everything ceased.
And,
Everything.
and and it's a shame that, because I've also heard of cases where someone was charged with unaliving someone, and their body has never been found. And another thing that I just don't understand is when people get charged and convicted with a homicide, they are not. I'm not going to say they're not obligated, but I have heard or seen cases where they've never told the authorities like where the bodies are. So um, police, all they can do is just keep searching and searching and searching, especially if nobody is giving them any type of leads as to where they can find this little girl at. Um, and I just think there should be something that the cops or law enforcement can do to kind of force the suspects in any case to to give up the location of the deceased, so that they can close their cases and families can get closure. But
Now,
it doesn't matter if the person has been convicted. Yeah, that's sort of like closure. However, you still have your loved one out in the world somewhere. You have no idea where, so they're not getting closure, complete closure.
there's a famous case here in St. Louis where I stay, of this little boy named Christian Ferguson, and his dad and mom had joint custody of him. So when it was, and he was special needs as well too. So when it was time for his daddy visit, he went to the daddy's house. The daddy had played like something was wrong with him, went to a nearby payphone and called and said that the little boy was sick and everything, and that was the last time anybody heard from him. And by him being special needs, he had some type of medical condition where he survived on certain type of meds, and those meds hadn't been refilled. They were not with him or anything like that. And so later on, they end up convicting the dad of murder. And to this day, and it's been over at least 10 years, they still have not located Christian Ferguson. And I believe he was 7 years old at the time that he passed away. hmm So, yeah, it definitely happened where people do get convicted, but there is nobody.
Right. And that's just awful. That is so awful.
Yes.
Okay, we're gonna get back to the video real quick.
Instead of them calling the nurse, they called the counselor. School failed them. So once Shannon beats on it, she passes out, she dies right there. So they panic. So they get her twin sister helped Shannon get her into the mama car, and they go and meet Jarvis. Meet Jarvis out there. Go back around trying to get rid of the baby. He gave that to her, you know what I'm saying, and trying to do whatever he could do. She was feeling sick or whatever. All right, so he gets in the car, drops her off to go back home. All right, when she gets out to go home, she go in the house. Shannon didn't get into it with her. They didn't call and see if she was at Jarvis' house because Shannon already knew she was at Jarvis' house because she called to get directions earlier that day while she's at school. So once she get back, they get the fussing at her for going up to Jarvis' shop and calling fast and this and that. Then it all came out, you know, confirming that she was pregnant, was Jarvis' baby, and Shannon lost it. Shannon lost it real bad, and jumped on Naziah, beating her, hitting her in the head with some object right there in the house that they overlooking, and killed Naziyah because she was already probably having complications. Remember, from whatever they've been giving her to try to get rid of the baby. Remember, she was sick earlier that day and on the floor. Instead of them calling the nurse, they called the counselor. The school failed them. So once Shannon beats on it, she passes out, she dies right there. So they panic. So they get her, the twin sister, help Shannon get her into the mama car.
Okay, I'll let that repeat a little bit because I wanted to kind of make sure everybody understand what he was saying and what was going on. Um, like they said, that story kind of seems almost if it was true. She was sick because they probably was giving her the antifreeze, and she was already sick. They was trying to get the baby, out of her or whatever, and so by her laying down on the floor, that's weird. Why would she lay down on the floor in her classroom, which which to me corroborates the story that she was sick. So she lay down on the floor and studied them, get the nurse. They got the counselor, and the counselor never showed up. Um, and that story does bring some type of truth, but with any lie, there's some truth in there. And I'm not saying this is a lie. I'm saying with any lie, there's some truth in a lie to make it seem like it's real. Another thing is, if the story true, they can definitely go into the home and try to see if there's any blood splatter or whatever, and find out exactly where this happened at, and what objects used or whatever. And if Jarvis is talking, shoot, this would be an easy case to find out if it was true because they're gonna go in there and they're gonna use illumination to find out if there's any blood splatter or anything, and they really don't need a body to know if someone is not alive anymore because all you have to do is see how much blood splatter is in particular areas to know that that person is no longer alive.
So, my question, I guess that I have is, where is the mother during all of this? And
But they
as far
said
as
she
this,
been in the streets. She been with the grandma, since she was 2 years old, and her mom been in the streets for a while. That's what they were
I
saying.
know there was a statement from her biological father that I saw. God, it's been probably about a month or so ago, or maybe it was in a paper that I was while doing research. But I would like to know, like, where was he at? You
I
know,
think they
He
say he
lost
passed away.
communication with
I
her.
really
He said before the police contacted him, he had lost communication with her for 8 years.
Right. But
So
if
he
I'm
didn't
not
know.
mis-
But yeah, he passed away last year.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I
okay,
heard that he passed away.
okay. Wow, passing away and not knowing where your daughter is. Oh man, can't even imagine.
Well, from my understanding, that the father said he had been looking for her for years, and he said the only reason that he know that this happened to her is the officers came to his house and asked, "Do he know the whereabouts of Nazara?" And he was like,
Yeah, and like I
"Okay,
said
go ahead."
too, like, or I'm sorry,
This is the best news ever. Now it is being alleged that Jarvis told someone on the inside that he did not unalive Naziyah. It was Shannon, allegedly. Now, like I said, this is alleged. I don't know if Jarvis said this, but many sources are saying that this is in fact true. Now, my opinion, I do believe it's true. I believe that Jarvis said that. And Shannon's actions make me believe that maybe he is telling the truth. Shannon is acting very suspiciously, in my opinion, and it's just not normal. She's disassociated herself from the whole situation, from Naziyah. I noticed that Marquita has done that as well. I believe that Shannon absolutely knew what Jarvis was doing to Naziyah. And I believe that there's other victims out there because it has been said that there are other victims out there coming forward. And I believe that Shannon knows about that as well. And she's been covering for Jarvis for a long time. When Shannon was confronted, she did confess that she knew that Naziyah was pregnant. She said that she had Naziyah take a pregnancy test. And she said she found out that Naziyah was pregnant when she was pregnant. And of course, that would make sense because right after Naziyah was missing, not too long ago after that, Shannon had a baby. So her and Naziyah were pregnant at the same time. Shannon was angry, no doubt about it. Shannon is still angry. You can hear it in Shannon's voice. She's angry and she is bitter.
You don't want to answer no questions like where's the baby at, man? I said, where's the baby at then? Y'all don't know? I don't know. That's crazy. Where? Why is the lies on the stand? I mean, y'all told me one thing. I don't know which one of y'all is Shannon. Which one is Shannon and Marquita? First off. Oh, that's why you're looking at me like that. Yeah. So what's the deal, Shannon? What's the deal, Mark? About what? Whatever conversation gonna be on. About you said we can ask you questions, so what's up? You already asked me questions, no, I answered it. I got more questions, so come on. No. Come on. So I'm saying you was the last one to see her alive, right? Yeah, before school. Before school. So what happened now?
What gets me is her whole demeanor, how she's acting. She act like she really don't give a damn, and she is was jealous of her niece. That's what I'm seeing.
she was very nonchalant about it, you know. But yeah, I think the same thing.
Almost as
No.
if she was like she had a hate for her. Look how she's acting. She's acting like she's like pissed about something. How you mad about your niece being missing by you're supposed to be child's father? That is crazy
Hmm.
that you brought around. So you're partly the blame of all this happening.
Yeah,
Let's
like she
say if
don't
you
care.
didn't let's say if you didn't unalive your niece and he did do it, he did it, then it still is your fault because you brought this creep around everybody. I
Right.
mean, and then you have the nerve to have kids by him.
Hmm. Yeah, like I said, she just seemed real like I don't care. You know, she just has that I don't care attitude. That she's offended that you're even like mentioning
Asking about
anything
the
to her
girl.
about it.
Right. Like that's crazy.
I
Y'all got
think all
anything
of
else?
them should get. I think all of them should get locked up. From the
Oh yeah.
grandmother to the aunts to Jarvis
Even the people at
to
the school need to be questioned. If she went to
exactly,
the nurse that day, they
Yeah,
all
exactly.
because how you see a child just laying on the floor sick?
and not do
Uh,
nothing about it.
right, right. So evidently she wasn't just doing that just for the hell of it. Because
Right.
Even
something
the
was going on.
even the CPS. How would you allow someone that is there? The people are telling you is a convicted child or has been accused of touching the kids or whatever, and you do nothing about it. You don't even investigate it or anything. That's crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Where I'm from, if anybody come and say that, they're gonna investigate it. They're gonna find get to the bottom of it. Another
Right,
ball was dropped because the state didn't put registry charges. I mean, they didn't. He was charged with it, but he wasn't registered as a sex offender. They had dropped the ball in registering him as a sex offender. So that
right.
could be why the CPS really couldn't act on it because he wasn't in the registry as a offender. So I mean, man, I mean, like the preliminary judge said, the whole community failed this young girl.
Hmm.
Absolutely.
So
Did you
yeah.
get to see those videos where it was like from maybe like street cameras that was showing images of a little girl that was around Nazaria's age that was frequent walking near Jarvis's job. Then there was one where, it was a far away shot, but you could see the silhouette or the image of a little girl. You couldn't see her face because it was like the garage was like halfway shut or whatever, but you could make out like the body or whatever. And
Hmm.
it was just crazy. And then like a couple of, I think it was, I want to say his sister-in-law who works at the mechanic shop said that she remember a few times seeing Nazar Naziyah sitting either in his car or walking around the facility. So
Hmm.
it's like, to me, that would be a red flag or whatnot to me, especially if this is not your child. And like, I just don't understand how people just didn't take action. No action
Right.
was done.
Well,
Hmm.
he was trying to hide what he was doing by adding his child in there. Hey,
Yeah,
send my child and Nazaria down here to the shop to clean up. But in the whole, in reality, he was trying to see Nazaria. He just used
yeah,
his child as an excuse to get her out there.
Hmm.
It was another witness that was getting her car fixed by Jarvis. She said she seen Nazaria, and she was sitting in I think she was sitting in the vehicle. She said she kept getting out of the car, going to the store, coming back from the store, getting back in the car, going back to the store. And she said one of those times she got up and she went to the store and she said the little girl was right in front of her. The little girl was wearing the same jacket, the same everything, same hoodie and everything that was in that picture of the clothes that they found of Nazaria. So she said that's how she knew it was Nazaria. They was asking her, well, did the police tell you to say that this was Nazaria or whatever? She said no. The reason I knew it was Nazaria because of her clothes. That was the exact same clothes she had, and she was in front of me going into the store.
Hmm.
And that was on the day she went missing. She was up there with Jarvis at that particular time. So
now
yeah,
the one thing about Jarvis and Naziah's relationship, like, she really he groomed her, which is sick. But like, in her little girl mind, it's sad because she honestly thought that Jarvis loved her, and she thought that somewhere her and Jarvis was gonna be together, and I think she kind of was like, did you see that one video where she was singing and she was like, "We're gonna have pretty, pretty babies and stuff," and
Just sick.
yeah, it's just it's so sad, you know, that she ended up losing her life.
Right. And the judge even said she had him in her phone as Bay. She
Yeah,
had this grown, nasty man in her phone as Bay.
That's crazy.
yes,
That's
As
crazy.
Yeah, it really
Bay.
is.
Ooh.
That
yes,
means no one was checking her phones. No
right.
one
Right,
was doing any kind of motherly type of thing for her. She was just a paycheck for the granny and all them kids in the house. She was one of the foster kids. She was, regardless of her being biological, she was still just one of them kids that the granny was collecting a check for, um,
right.
and was not getting any kind of love and any kind of you know
Affection and
a concern,
Hmm.
no watching, no nothing. That the child was looking for some attention. She was looking for something, and it's really sad. She got it from a that type of person, that a monster.
mhm.
Okay,
But
I'm
now
gonna
there
get
was another little girl in the actual household or whatever. I want to say that was Shannon, 9 year old, and they say that they think that he was grooming her. She was getting ready, if not, a victim, but was getting ready to be the next victim of Jarvis.
yeah. That is crazy. I'm gonna go ahead and start this video so we can get through it. Hold on.
So what happened after school though? You figure it out. Y'all got everything right. Yeah. So now she running. Like so now what you going here for? So was you? I mean, was you jealous about Jarvis messing with Naziyah or what? Like, I'm not talking.
Woo! Look at how she's acting. Look at her reaction. I believe that she could have been jealous and she could have did something to Nazaria. I do believe that.
Yeah, she does not look like the caring person who's concerned for her little niece at all.
Questions can be done when it comes to a missing child, especially her niece, which she does not care. You guys, this woman has no sympathy. She is very sadistic and she is evil, in my opinion. I am really starting to believe that Shannon was jealous, she was upset, and she got rid of her own niece in a fit of rage, anger, jealousy. She did all this for a man who doesn't even love her. He doesn't even care about her. He don't even care about his own children. This man abused his own children. She was so desperate for a man, she sacrificed her own niece, which she has no love for. And Annette, she sacrificed her granddaughter for Shannon and Jarvis, some grown ass people that can take care of themselves. When this woman vowed, she legally adopted Naziyah. She took on the responsibility to become her mother. And I think she only did it because she wanted to use her. I really believe there is more going on in this whole situation, especially after that video circulating with Naziyah dancing with that grown man that we found out was an offender. And not only is this man an offender, he is the worst kind, a tier 3 offender. And he is somehow associated or related to Annette Harris. Annette has her granddaughter exposed to these kind of men. Not just that, she's sending her down to the shop where there's nothing but men to clean when there's boys that can do it. There's a lot going on, a whole lot. And this just is not about some kids going to the shop, cleaning up. I feel like there's a whole organization going on here. And it's also being said that Jarvis has been getting the business. Okay, they have been giving him the business while he's been locked up. That's why this man was limping, and that's why his face was covered. Because they rearranged him a little bit. They rearranged his whole dentures a little bit. And so I was also thinking, since Jarvis is in jail getting his ass kicked, is that why he said Shannon did it? Regardless, I do believe that he did say it, and I really do believe that Shannon did it. So if these inmates are putting pressure on Jarvis's neck, then they need to make him say where Naziyah is. If he did say that Shannon did it, and let's say if they made him say Shannon did it, well, then make him say where she is. It's a shame that nobody in her family seems to care. And we're going to talk about this Marquita chick because I got this recording of Marquita talking about the whole situation. Now, let me tell you,
And far as Jarvis butt, they need to be kicking on his butt and trying to get him to reveal where that girl is, where that baby is. They need to be on
Yep.
him like that. And if Shannon did it, she needs to go to jail. And I also believe the grandma needs to go to jail. Anybody that played a part in ignoring what was happening to this little girl needs to go to jail.
I have the definition of what a tier 3 sex offender is, just in case someone that's watching this video doesn't quite know what a tier 3 sex offender is. So I'll go ahead and read it. A tier 3 sex offender is a classification given to an individual convicted of the most serious sex offense, typically involving violent crime or crimes against children, signifying a high risk or reoffending and reoccurring them to register on the sex offender registry for life, with the most strenuous reporting requirements, often including frequent in person verification with law enforcement. And that's what a tier 3 sex offender is.
Yeah. It's just sad, that if she were to have responsible adults around her, that could have, helped raise the baby, and but now, you wanted to dispose of the baby and her, and it's just, uh, I just hope, she's found, and she can, come home and have the proper burial, instead of just out out there somewhere and nobody is saying where this child is. It's just so heartbreaking every time. I hear the story, and then the new reports that are coming out. It just makes this case more sad by the day. By every article, by every statement that I read, that you have all these adults that should have been protecting her and loving her did the complete opposite of what you should do with your child or your children. It's just heartbreaking.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and finish up this video real quick. Let me play the last bit of it.
I really should have added her name to that petition.
The kids to not say this and not say that, covering up shit. Ain't nobody telling the kids nothing. Shannon says she don't know, then she don't motherfucking know. Don't feel like motherfuckers should be interrogated a situation that really is out of her fucking hands at this point. Let the Lord deal with Jarvis' ass. Let them question him. That's why his ass is down there locked the fuck up at this point. But if it is, and if he did do something, then yes, he needs to be convicted about the shit. Don't sit up here and say that he don't need to be convicted. Yes, quarterly. But from what my knowledge is, none of my nieces and nephews ever been touched. And I don't think Jarvis is that fucking sick in the brain to fuck with his own kids. And as for my sister, I'm bagging her up at this point. Yeah, she probably was on here and she was talking because I listened to her. She probably is teared up about this shit. But who the fuck can say that she don't have feelings? Like people are coming from my family, and I feel like motherfuckers need to stop. If you're not gonna be a help to the problem, trying to help find this girl, so then I'm gonna just respectfully ask you to shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up, mind your own business, and pretend like shit not motherfucking happening.
I don't know if we can pretend like it ain't happening, but
I'm just saying, just don't pretend like it's motherfucking happening, because everybody want to focus on what motherfuckers should or shouldn't be doing. Getting out, we passing out flyers, we knocking on doors, we asking motherfuckers, have you seen this little girl? We doing our homework as a family that cares about our loved ones.
Wow, have you seen this little girl? That little girl. Been looking for that little girl. And pretend like it's not happening. Pretend like it's not happening. That's what y'all are doing. That's what this family is doing. And the public cares. The public loves Naziyah. And we going to get answers for her. And we going to keep going. And we going to keep going until everybody is in handcuffs. So we're not going to stop talking about it. We're not going to pretend like it didn't happen. And we're not going to forget about it. On our petition to investigate Shannon Harris.
What questions must have gone through their minds? Like, where's Naziyah? Haven't seen her in, X amount of time, but nobody is talking to explain anything to the children.
Not only that, I wonder if the kids know something. If a struggle took place in the house, I wonder who was
Mm-hmm.
there, who heard something, who knows something. Is the kids just keeping quiet? If this even true about anything happening in the house, it could have happened
Right.
somewhere else. I mean, I don't know. It's just this whole story is a lot to intake, and there's a lot of different things coming out. Um, I mean, this is a very stressful story, and it's very sad. And I just want justice for her. I want her body to be found. If it can't be found, I want some kind of justice for her for her to know that people that did not even know her fought for her to
Yep.
get justice.
Hmm. And, depending on how far along Naziyah was, that's a second human. It's not just a embryo or a fetus, that in some states is considered,
Yeah.
homicide as well,
Right. Right. Right.
So,
And
all of them could be looking at two charges of homicide, so, that's another thing. Once the investigation and they go to trial to see exactly what charges are brought against Jarvis Butts, and if there will be more charges leveled against the other adults that maybe were in the household, like the
But
grandmother or the
there
aunt.
was no definite proof that she was pregnant, only through the pregnancy test and the word of mouth. So they won't. I wouldn't think they would use that. It had to be some to where they knew she was pregnant, like without a doubt.
Well,
So
maybe so, and we just don't know about it. Like maybe, there since the law is still investigating, if she was, I'm sure that'll come out later on, during the actual trial.
yeah, I just hope they find her, and it's
Yeah.
gonna tell them everything they need to know. And you
Mm.
know what, y'all? If there's any, if y'all have any final words, let's get them out because that's our time right there. And you know, I just wanted to say that hopefully they find her, they get justice for her, and I'm praying for anybody that this affect and the people that was really trying to help Nazara and get her away from this situation before this tragic happened.
Amen.
The
I
prayers for baby
agree.
girl.
Later, everybody. Thanks
Later.
for watching the video.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.